Hi, Rory here from the Florida Academy of Baking. Today we are going to make focaccia, and we use this bucket here to make the focaccia. It makes the whole process really easy, and it's something that we make a lot of here. We have it for lunches and we do lots of variations on it. We make sandwiches, we make signature ones like sandwiches like Philly cheesesteak, Italian sausage, and we also do sweet focaccias like apple fritter and jelly donut. So we're going to just get started, and what you need is we need flour, sugar, table salt, yeast, olive oil and water. And the nice thing about using the bucket is you don't need any scales, you don't need any measurement, and you can actually just go right ahead and start incorporating everything. Everything you need is here with your scoop, your tablespoon measure and your stir. So firstly we put in lukewarm water to our line. So it's the line here that says water, and the temperature of the water is between 90 and 110 degrees. Basically, if you've ever had a baby's bottle, that's the kind of temperature you're going for. So I just need another little drop there. And when you're making your focaccia, it doesn't matter if you go a little bit over on the water, because it's easier to work with a wetter focaccia than it is one that it will be drier with more flour. So we add in the yeast, and what we do is we sprinkle it. You don't drop it in one big lump. You want it to spread and cover the entire surface of the water. If you put it in as one big lump, what will happen is it will come together and the middle of it will still stay dry and it won't absorb the water. Then we do our sugar. Again, just sprinkle that over, and you see then it'll start to weigh the yeast down, because the yeast is so light it would just basically float on the surface of the water. Do the same now, tablespoon of salt. And then we add our olive oil. So you need 4 tablespoons of olive oil, which is the equivalent of 1/4 of a cup. 3. And then literally just give it a light stirring. Then finished with that. I will need my oil later when I go to put it in my pan. And then we'll add in our flour. So we need 5 full scoops of flour. So when you're using the flour, you want to scoop the flour as it fits in. You don't need to pack it down. And I use the back of my plastic stir. So 1 level. We do 2. And amazingly, you do have to keep count, because sometimes you can think, did I put in 4 or 5? That's 3. And again, just level. And the mistake people sometimes make is they pack it. And if you pack the flour in, you can put in anywhere between 20 and 40% more flour, which would make your focaccia very dry. 5. So now everything is in the bowl. We just give it a stir. And basically you want to just make sure all the water is absorbed, all the flour. I like to scrape down the sides. And you want to just mix it evenly through. And the great thing about this dough is this is it. You don't need to knead it, you don't need to work it, you don't need to do anything else with it. It will come straight from the bucket into your container that you're going to bake it in. So just take off the last bits there. And when we do the buckets, everything you need, the ingredients and the steps are all on the lid. And we also have a hole in it, so you can put the lid on securely, and that will allow the the dough to breathe. So if you didn't have the hole, what would happen is it would just pop the lid off as the yeast grows. So you can leave that out on your countertop for 2 to 3 hours, and once the dough has risen and it's between these 2 points, it's ready to go. So it depends on the temperature of your house or where you put it. That's the kind of the 2 to 3 hour timeline. If you have a proofer, sometimes you can even get it done under the 2 hours. So we'll put that aside and get ready to go. Our focaccia is risen, and now we're ready to go and put it into our pan. I use a disposable aluminum pan. If you have a big pan at home you like to use, obviously the smaller the pan, the higher your focaccia is going to be, and that's something that you can just kind of play around with. So firstly, we have to put oil on the bottom of our pan. This is to stop the focaccia sticking, and also the focaccia essentially cooks in the oil. So as the oil heats up, it cooks the outside of the focaccia, and that's how we get that nice crispy focaccia. So we do a nice thin coating. I'll just maneuver it around, and I would say I'll just need a little bit more than that. And then we can drizzle more oil on it at the end if we need. So, see, my focaccia is ready to go. So I will put my hand into it, get some oil on it, and then that's what I'll use just to scoop the focaccia out. So this is my dough ready to go. And the first thing I'll do is, again, oil on your fingers, is flip it. So I want to make sure that my focaccia is completely covered, and I know I've done that. And I will also lift it to make sure, because sometimes, particularly if you're using different pans, it can actually absorb up all the focaccia, and then there's no oil left on the other side. So make sure there's oil underneath it. And then with your knuckles, you just want to spread it out. And you want to get it as close as you can to the edges, but it doesn't matter if you go all the way, because we're going to do this again after we let it set for another 20 minutes, and then that'll allow us to put our indentations in it and fill the rest of the pan. So as you can see, as I push it, it contracts a little bit. That's just, it needs another little bit of time to rest. So that's good to go. I'm going to go and put this aside to proof. You don't really need to cover it because there's oil on it, so it won't dry up. So again, keep it wherever you had your focaccia dough proofing beforehand. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you'll see the dough will actually rise. So I'll put this aside and I'll take it back in a few minutes, or in 20 minutes. So this is our focaccia dough, and you can see it's nicely risen. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some indentations in it in our figures. And really what we want is, we want those indentations to fill with little pockets of olive oil, and when they cook, they'll actually, this is what gives us the nice crispy crust. So when you look at it, there's always the option, if you want to do another little drizzle of olive oil on what you're doing, you can just go and do that. There we go. And now we'll just add our seasoning. So I've got my focaccia seasoning, and you just want to do a nice even shake of it. And again, if you like, a little bit garlicer, put a bit more garlic on it. One of the ones I actually really enjoy is a rosemary and sea salt. So what I'll put down is I'll actually put some dried rosemary down, some sea salt, and then I will dip some fresh rosemary in olive oil and put that on top as well. And that is a lovely accompaniment with the meal. And then we'll put a bit of Parmesan. And you'll always use like a hard cheese, like a Parmesan, an Asiago. You wouldn't use something like a mozzarella, because this bakes for kind of 20 minutes. So if you did that, you would just burn it. The harder cheeses are far more resistant to the heat. So you put it in the oven for 450 for 20 minutes. If you have a fan oven, you can bring that down to 425, and I always check it at 18 minutes just to see, and you can really tell by looking at it. Don't take it out of the oven you think it's done, because if you take it out and check it, what will happen is as soon as you take it out, the focaccia will soak in all that oil, and if you put it back in again, it'll actually start to dry your focaccia out. So it's one of those things, when you think it's ready, take it out, but don't take it out too soon. This is our focaccia, just out of the oven. And it's, you can see it's just run a little hot. So I'll just let it see. I can see it's already out from the sides. So this was, in our oven, this was 18 minutes at 325. Take it out. All the oil is absorbed into the focaccia. You can hear how crispy that is. I'd let this cool down for at least kind of 15 or 20 minutes before we go to eat it. And again, lovely, just cut into pieces just to eat as a dip or a side. Also makes a fantastic sandwich. You just cut it horizontal, and we'll see how that looks in a few minutes. My delicate little flowers. Oh, I need to get my sandwich making equipment. Yeah. You can see you get a lovely, nice soft dough, crunchy outside, crunchy on the bottom, on the top, and again, it's the olive oil that allows you to do that. Works really well just if you want to eat a bit of bread. They also make a fantastic sandwich. So I'm just going to go and make just a quick focaccia sandwich. So what we do is we cut our bread in half. So I'm all about balance. So it's mayonnaise on one side, my little tub of mustard on the other side. And then we'll get some ham. Some cheese, tomato, and of course when we do tomato we should always put a little bit of salt on the tomato. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. And we'll finish that off with a few bits of nice lettuce. And there we have a focaccia sandwich fit for a king. So focaccia buckets can be purchased from www.focacciabucket.com. So I hope you enjoyed that recipe, and if you have any ideas for recipes that you would like to see, put them in the comments below. We're always looking for new ideas, and we're always looking to do a bit of experimenting with our focaccia, and thanks for watching. Subscribe.